Hi everyone, welcome to the Superhuman Switch, a mind, body, business empowering podcast guaranteed to switch your superhuman levels on. I'm your host, Saf. Today I'm joined with Layal Harmoush Takieddine. Layal is a mom of three. She's the head of marketing of MBC Group, and the founder of Gemini Bakes. We'll talk about her journey as a marketeer in the biggest media agencies in the Middle East, and her love for food led to an amazing channel, which is Gemini Food. By the way, I'm hungry.
I should have brought cookies.
Yeah. And basically, how she's taking care of herself and balancing everything with her family. So, Layal,
Yes.
it's really great to have you here.
Great being here, really.
It's amazing. Funny enough, we've been working together 2006
Yes.
back in Coca-Cola. You were the marketeer, and
Yes.
I was in the sales operations. It's been almost 19 years, right?
Yes, I can't believe it. I used to go with you on market visits and learn everything about it.
It's amazing. And of course, I've been watching your journey when you moved to Dubai, because I think 2007 I also moved to Dubai, and
Yes.
we were like in total different industries. But it's fascinating how you have basically this. You kept on this trajectory of marketing, and what fascinated me is the channel of your love for food.
Yes.
And so I would love to hear, of course, share with the audience your journey and this transition. Of course, since we are both coming from the same background, from Lebanon and moving to Dubai.
Yeah.
So I would love just to hear a little bit of your story, and then we can jump into it in details.
Definitely. So just to start about like my love for marketing, I went to AUB, and back in the day they used to give us, the courses that we had to take, and then you could choose an emphasis in terms of the different courses.
Yeah.
So I remember taking my first marketing course, and I think this is where I caught the bug. And I loved it so much. I think it also had to do with the professor, the way they presented, the different work that we had to do as well. And I felt like this is what I connected with the most compared to finance and the economics and
Yeah.
everything else. So I think this is where, the whole love for marketing started. And then I was lucky enough to work in companies where I could actually translate this love in different ways, be it through B2B marketing or B2C. I started in a production house back then and worked with different clients, brought their stories to life across editorial, across many ways, and then moved to Dubai, worked with OMD for 12 years.
Yeah.
And I'm now at MMS, where I do B2B marketing as well.
I still remember the team in Coca-Cola in Lebanon, Elena.
Yes,
And-
and Rania.
And Rania, and basically it was a really nice transition, because on the operation side and how we started, I would say it's like the market visits and the implementation of Coca-Cola when I think Transmed, they took the acquisition of
Yes.
the bottling.
Exactly.
And you moved to Dubai in 2008, which is
Yes.
basically after the war, right? 2006.
Yeah,
Because we still remember our basically warehouses in Shuaifat,
exactly.
and we moved to the north somewhere
Yes.
to have this transition.
Yeah.
But yeah, after that, I think this is where we got separated, and I moved to Dubai back then. So your journey as a marketeer, I'm really interested to dive into the challenges on the marketing side, and what are the things been transitioned, because now these days moving from the traditional marketing to the
Yeah.
digital marketing now is moving to a totally different spectrum of marketing,
Yeah.
and the content creator, which is, I think you are master
Yeah.
in that space. So just a little bit to shed the light, to give an idea how this transition is moving, and what are your basically projection when it comes to this.
Okay, so obviously I've been on both sides of marketing. So B2C, which is completely different. Talking to your consumers, running campaigns. I mean, I don't know if you remember the campaign Coke Side of Life.
Yeah.
So it was all about garnering the correct insights, working with the right platforms back then. And back then there weren't that many at the time, so it was a bit easier. Obviously research in terms of product, that development, purchasing.
Yeah.
We used to handle many facets across that. And then after launching different campaigns, we had to look at impact on sales, impact on brand love, and different brand KPIs. I feel like over the years it became harder. Because so many platforms emerged, obviously with the whole digital revolution happening as well, I felt like planning became even harder, to catch the consumer at the right time, at the right place. I worked on a side of marketing that was also quite hard, which was branded entertainment for 5 years at OMD. And that was quite challenging because, this was the new way of marketing. It's creating content within existing properties, existing shows, to not interrupt the customers or your people's viewing experience.
I see, yeah, true.
Right? So this came with its own set of challenges because a lot of clients were risk averse. They were worried about the idea not succeeding. They were worried about the budget. They were worried about the execution. So I feel like the sales, selling the idea, for me was the biggest challenge ever, and getting the client to trust us to be able to do the right thing, right?
True.
But I can proudly say that after surpassing this challenge of selling the idea, we were able to do so many nice things, award-winning actually work.
True.
For Henkel, for Beiersdorf, and I'm still in touch with a lot of clients from the day because they really saw value in that.
I see.
And I feel like the narrative is still, it hasn't really changed. So obviously different platforms are emerging, but the consumer at the heart remains the same. They want amazing experiences that they can connect with, and they're not forced to watch. So as long as you're authentic and you're doing things with the right tone of voice, you will succeed in marketing. And obviously it's not that simple. There's a lot of hit and miss. There's a lot of risks sometimes that you have to be willing to take. But if you have the right partners with you, you have the correct insights, I think a lot can be done.
I totally agree with you. Actually, the customer psychology is still the same, but the medium or how basically they reach out is totally different.
Exactly.
So the application might vary, but the beauty about now from moving from centralized to decentralized platforms, this is what's creating an opportunity for everyone to become a content creator.
Yes.
Or I wouldn't say influencer, but at least a content creator now. This is the new direction of it. Where it brings value, of course, some of them are driven by mission. And your passion for food, because yes, I'm still hungry, and I had to have two breakfasts yesterday because I was consuming your content.
Yeah.
So please, I would love to hear this because I devour basically all the content from all the platforms, but it's really amazing how you're delivering the content in a very passionate way. And for me, I'm not a foodie, but damn, that's really cool. So
thank you.
Food.
So love for food. So I come from a family who loves food. So once your palate is exposed to many types of delicious dishes, then you either just enjoy being the person who's consuming it, or you also are curious enough to want to try.
True.
So I'm very lucky to have had my mom really cook amazing food, thanks to my grandma. My father's mom, and also her mom as well. She really got into it and used to cook amazing food. And I still remember the first time I decided to take a shot at doing something. I was 10 years old, and I made sugar cookies. So with a bit of her help, but I just loved it. I loved making it. I loved the process. So ever since I started baking, I started making lemon meringue pies at 15 years old.
Oh, my daughter's favorite.
Really? I love it. So the love for food started, and obviously cooking and baking. Now, how did this translate into an actual passion or something that I was doing on the side as my second life? In 2017, I was sitting with a colleague, and I was, telling her that I was, creating a bit of content around food because so many people were asking me about recipes, method of cooking, things that they can do at home that are easy. So she encouraged me. So shout out to Layal. She knows that she has, a lot of
Thank
credit.
You, Layal.
Thank you. A lot of credit because, she supported me, and she came to my house and taught me how to create, great and delicious pictures. I had no clue about how to take nice shots, how to take nice videos. So I had a lot of help, and I worked with another friend to do a photo shoot of different things. And I kicked off my Instagram in 2017.
Yep.
It started growing. And then I got my very first client when I had 1,000 followers. And when I first got the email, I thought it was,
Spam.
a spam. So I had to research the person on LinkedIn and make sure it was legit. But it kept going. Brands kept coming, and I kept improving myself. So I took a lot of photography courses with content creators. I took video courses. I watched a lot of YouTube videos to improve myself.
Nice.
And I'm sure you know that a lot of platforms moved from pictures to video.
True.
So that became a different beast on its own. So I've worked with production houses, and I've worked on my own to create great content. And I'm happy to say that TikTok has grown, massively for me, YouTube as well. So Facebook. So, I mean, these are platforms that are really giving me a platform to grow and to connect with the community and to connect with brands and make business sense out of what I'm doing.
I love this journey because my experience, even now with the podcast, I spent like 1 month in the trenches to understand basically the whole process. And usually this is the way my mind works. It's like I need to put everything as an SOP. And like every couple of days, like I discover something new.
Yeah.
Between the audio podcast and if you want to do a video podcast, what are the challenges and how you distribute this on these platforms. Surprising how enjoying it, but it's a lot.
It's a lot.
But yeah, I can imagine the journey that you went through. On the passion topic, I still remember an interesting article you posted,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken, on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
talking about the relationship with passion and how this have an impact if you are going to get attached to it and how you... I'm really interested to shed the light on this stuff because it was really, I would say, an eye-opener.
Yes.
How you look into something that you're passionate about
Yeah.
and how you translate it into business.
Yeah.
Where I 100% agreed with you.
Yeah.
So take me through this.
Yes. So back then, I always used to think that once I'm done with the corporate world, following my passion would be the biggest dream. Doing what you love, right?
Yeah.
Not that I don't love the corporate world, but I felt like, my love for food and creating content around it is, great. Actually, it was before I started creating content. So in between, there was a journey, a 5-year journey, where I used to bake cakes with my best friend, and we used to sell. So for me, I thought back then this was, my big dream, right? So take orders for birthdays, for engagements, for weddings. And we really, went at it. So we would finish our working hours, come back home and bake and decorate and design until the wee hours of the morning. And for a long time, I thought this is exactly what I want to be doing, right? And I thought, yes, I'll transition from the corporate world and I'll just get into this. What I realized time after time is that this part of my food passion, which is selling the food and, taking orders from different customers, etc., it kind of sucked the life and the joy out of baking for me. Although I was always so happy when they loved the cakes and loved the designs, but I was driven by other people's choices, other people's flavors. So, for example, you love making chocolate cake, right? Let's say. If you do it 100 times.
No, I like vanilla.
I just, oh, okay.
Okay.
So I realized that this was not the path that I wanted, and I
Okay.
took a step back, and I realized that doing what you love is not always, a winning formula in the end. So went back to corporate. I continued with my corporate life, which I realized I loved. It gave me a lot of structure, financial stability, etc. And then I found, something else that worked better for me, which was content creation. So I was doing it at my own time, my own pace. I do what I love. I cook what I want, and I felt that this freedom allowed me to enjoy this and love what I'm doing and still love food. So sometimes you have to find an angle to your passion as well. It can't be just, okay, I love cooking and baking. Okay, great. But what does it mean, on a day-to-day? What are you doing? So I felt like for me, it was creating content in my free time while having, the perks of the corporate life works best for me.
I love this perspective because most of us, we fall into the trap like, oh, okay, I'm passionate and I'm putting all and invest all my time with it. And where the conflict started to happen is like, is this something that I'm passionate about? And you start questioning it.
Yes.
But are you grateful for this like transition? Because when you realize that this is not working for me operationally and I'm driven by what the customers are asking for, it's putting me away from my passion.
Yes.
I think it's a learning
It's a big learning, really, to know what you love, right? If you don't try, you'll never know. So if I hadn't done these 5 years, I wouldn't have known that this is not exactly what I want. And also, I have to say that, it built a great rapport with me and my best friend. We worked so well together. And sometimes I still go to her whenever I'm making cakes for my kids. I learned so much, I built so many connections. So I feel like this was kind of the starting point that led me somewhere else. I will never regret, these 5 years.
Yeah, it's
with the ups
interesting.
and downs.
Yeah, of course. See, when I look into most of the videos, actually, the only video that me personally I liked is cooking with your dad.
Yeah.
What's the food name?
We made carbonara and we made a koiti maqluba, I think, or something like that.
You corrected for you, showbak something.
Something, yeah.
It's for me. I love this, and it was obvious from where you got this talent.
Yes.
But I love it. How this, of course, you mentioned this at the beginning, how you connected with your family, traditions, and the way you cook. With your father specifically, take me through how the experience is and how you connect these kind of because he was delivering it okay, that's really amazing.
Yeah, I mean, my dad he's an extrovert, right? He's a social butterfly. He loves people. So for him, getting in front of the camera is not an issue at all. So convincing
Absolutely,
him
I was like,
was easy compared to my mom, who refuses to show her face so far. She prefers being behind the scenes. So convincing him was very easy. So I just filmed everything and I made it as easy as possible. So we didn't take too many takes. We just went with the flow, followed the process, and now I think we have 2 to 3 videos together. And he's become so popular. People are asking for him.
Yeah, actually, I like this. It's funny. It's sometimes I reflect on it, especially the generation that moved to Dubai. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we miss this kind of connection with our elders and our culture, regardless of which culture, by the way. But sometimes when I travel, I enjoy just sitting with someone who's 10, 20 years older than me and just have a chat.
Definitely. That's what we're missing over here.
Yeah.
We're very lucky from a work perspective, friends who became family perspective.
True.
But I think sitting with another generation, sitting with your family, older people, we're really missing that over here. So that's why I always say, I'm living in Dubai and I love it and I'm so thankful for it, but I'm alive in Lebanon. I feel, the life around me, the people, the family. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your country. It's where you've come from.
True.
So, but I think, we're having the best of both. So we're lucky in that sense.
Yeah, because also some of the content that you're putting, how your journey in Lebanon is it's really attractive in a way. That's amazing. I know this place, and the way you are portraying the story as a storytelling. I'm a bit surprised telling me before the podcast that you are introvert.
Yeah.
You are a natural speaker.
I'm on the spectrum.
It's I wish it's you can teach this. Layal, again, it's I've been watching basically how you're progressing on the content, and I think you participated with content conventions. What do you see that you're noticing now with the new generation of content? Because now all our kids are basically woke up on this technology, and they are interested to discover themselves through this.
Definitely.
Of course, with our effort I believe that our generation is quite unique because we moved from the tradition to the new innovative way, and we have the wisdom, call it wisdom, and the knowledge, basic knowledge, of course. But where do you see basically, what are the things, in your opinion, as challenging in the future for the younger generation? We already passed the Gen Z. I'm talking even the younger ones.
Younger ones, yeah.
When it comes to the content consumption.
Okay, so definitely it's a big worry for, all parents these days. On the one hand, I see how much they learn. Really, I mean, at their age, I didn't know half as much. So they are exposed to so many things, and they come to me, and we have very mature conversations about things that they've watched, things that they've seen, and you feel that they're much more comfortable with the digital world, be it, creating something or consuming something. And you see how they move from one platform to the other and what platform they consider cool. So apparently YouTube Shorts is the coolest for them,
True.
My kids are 12, 10, and almost 8.
Okay.
So this is the generation I'm talking about. My biggest fear is them getting exposed to things that they shouldn't be exposed to. And you try your best, right, as a parent to
True.
create a safer environment, to kind of cut down the time that they spend. And I'm making a big effort on that. So what I do is I take them out, I go with them, and we do a lot of things like ice skating, roller skating. My son was skiing the other day, or just go to a park, go to the beach. So for me, when I take them out of the whole digital world or environment, sometimes I have to fight for it because
Yeah.
it's addictive. I mean,
True.
let's face it. I used to play for hours, like Mario and Sonic and
All of us
and
guilty.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I can't blame them.
True.
But because I'm a very active person and I want them to be as active as me, as soon as I take them out of this environment, they just enjoy life, they enjoy nature, and they thank me later.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's how I'm trying to, balance it out. But definitely, it's tough, and sometimes I film videos with them, and I worry about their digital footprint. I mean, they're being out there, so I try to limit it, and I always take their okay if they want to be there, and that's why I don't focus my content on family content. It's more food. And if sometimes they're there, then great. But I don't like to make it all about family because I like to keep that part to myself.
I fully agree with you because also I face this slightly. Of course, I'm not in that spectrum, but actually, my wife she's attentive on this topic because we don't know yet if it's based on their consensus in the future that you put me there. I don't want to be there.
Yeah.
But it's I fully understand the challenge now, and how your kids now look up to you with this kind of like being a content creator, amazing kind of content, and how do they deal with you on like when the shooting? It's like they experience everything with you operationally. How this is happening at home now?
Okay, so let's be very, very honest. Shooting around kids is the most stressful thing.
Yeah, that's why I
that
shoot.
Can happen.
I shoot when they are at school for a good reason.
Exactly, to a person, to any parent. So hats off to all of those who create family content because I don't know how they do it. Especially when my kids were younger, trying to get them sometimes to do something. And even if I'm not filming with them, they just become like super hyper around me, very loud. If I'm using my microphone, then it becomes a massive challenge.
True.
But overall, honestly, I'm just so grateful to see how proud they are. So I can overhear them sometimes when their friends come over. They come and say, "Oh, by the way, guys, come see my mom's YouTube plaque. Like she got, silver." So and then they start admiring it and they say, "Oh, are you following my mom on Instagram? Did you see me as well? I'm popular too." But I always tell them one thing because they always say, "Oh, I want to be famous one day." And I say, "Listen, if this is your objective, then you're looking at it all wrong." Because the reason why I started it was not because I want to be known or famous or anything like that. It's because I genuinely wanted to share easy to make recipes with people and just get them to be encouraged to recreate their own. So that was the main challenge for me. It wasn't that, I want to be known and I want to go places, right? This came with it, which is great.
Byproduct.
But the heart of what I do will never change. This is what drives me, and that's what I always tell them. But I love to be a person who they look up to. So I always used to take them to the office, and I still do. So they see the businesswoman side of me. And I love the fact that they want to be like that. They say, "Oh, I want to be a business person when I grow up. I want to be like you. I want to go to an office." And then when they see me create content, they also get inspired. My son started his gaming channel. Layal likes to do TikToks, but I don't post them, except the few dances I do with her.
Yeah.
But you can see they try to emulate you in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So I try to be as good of a person I can be so they can learn from me.
They bring you back in balance. This is what
sure.
I feel that sometimes. Of course, they can bring the energy when you miss them when they are not there. And when they are there, come on, guys, give me a break.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, imagine. What's your biggest challenge you faced? Not in your career specifically, but in that journey and Gemini Bakes. What's the biggest challenge that you face? Okay, I'm not able to do it anymore.
I think sometimes I get to points where I feel like, I hate what I'm doing. Not because I'm not proud, but because I feel like, am I still doing the right thing? Am I creating nice content? How can I, make sure that everything I'm doing is still valuable? As a creator, as an artist, as any person who's creating something, there's always this self-doubt, that you go through.
Yeah.
And you think, oh my God, maybe I'm just, saying the same thing over and over again. Do I need to change the way I film? Because you look at other creators and you see how successful they are. And you think, do I need to do the same, or do I need to stick to what I'm doing? And it's a very confusing world. It's
Fast
scary.
pace.
It's very competitive. So I think this is, sometimes the biggest challenge for me, apart from the physical aspect of it. Staying long hours, standing, cooking, and then, fixing everything once you're done, editing, doing the voiceovers, the music. And so that's one side, the whole production, the whole inspiration, the whole competition side of things. And then you get the community, which 90% is amazing, but then you get the trolls who make your life a living hell. Because here you are spending hours on creating something, and then you have one person saying a comment that will ruin your day if you're a sensitive person like me.
Yeah.
So I try not to listen, I try to block, but at the end of the day, you're a human being, and you get affected. Words have impact on people.
Exactly.
Subconsciously, So it's a rabbit hole once you get into it and start answering. And so I try not to do it as much. I try to block. But I feel like that's part of the challenge, in the content creation world.
I can imagine. And how Layal is taking care of her physical health and I would say mental health. I think you need it because you are juggling in between three priorities.
Yeah.
And I believe that you have to do something, and obviously you're doing something about that. How you're taking care of yourself.
Definitely. So just to go back to 2013, I think 2013 was one of the lowest points I had ever been through. I had my my two kids, Ramzi and Wael, and I was in a very stressful work environment, extremely stressful. So, almost broke down. I just couldn't do it anymore. Life has a way of throwing you a lifeline or a chance, an opportunity. So I had a chance to move within the same company to another role, which was not client-facing, which was purely B2B. So this is where I found myself, and I had people around me to support, mental health-wise, physical-wise. So one environment was flexible work. So this is super important for anyone.
Yeah.
Be in an environment that allows you flexibility. Two, friends, who are able to inspire you to change. So I had, my best friend Farah. Also, big credit to her. Took me to classes, supported me a lot to do therapy. We went to different things like, at the beach or, different kind of exercises until I found, what I needed. That was very helpful. And I had to look into my own mindset to be able to take care of myself. And here I have to also give, a lot of credit to my husband because he is extremely supportive, be it with the kids or me having a career, me creating content, because sometimes your partner wants you to be around, for
True.
them, right? So after I finished with the kids, I create my content, and then, at one point he was a bit, frustrated, where's Layal? So this is where, I try to find a balance, sometimes say no to things, sometimes slow down to be able to take care of myself, So now I can say that I have a sort of a structure in my life where yoga for the past 4 years is, for me, it's a non-negotiable. No matter what, I'm doing my yoga once a week unless I'm traveling. I have a personal trainer who's coming over, and that's very helpful because you don't have to leave the house. So you're not creating, excuses in your head.
True.
I do a lot of things with the kids, like I said, ice skating, and a lot of other things where, I try to bring out the child in me again. And that was, I think, one of the best things. I also look into therapy, and it's something I think each and every person has to be doing. Someone who's completely objective, who's listening to you and giving you advice. So I think, all of these things help a lot in terms of focusing on yourself and your mental health. And I have to say it was the mindset that helped me. Once my brother gave me tough love. He said, Layal, you've been complaining for a while now. Are you doing anything about it? And it kind of clicked in my head. So now every time, I'm thinking, oh my God, I need to lose more weight. Why aren't I exercising? I feel my body's not strong enough. I say, you know what? I'm the one who's giving myself excuses. Go out and do it. So sometimes something that one person can tell you can just do a small shift in your mind and just drive you to do something.
I love this. That it's just a moment or statement that changed everything.
Everything.
I love it. Like, okay, it's a tough mindset, but the tricky part is to make sure that the application and how we are maintaining this. But first, you should be aware, personally, self-awareness, to be strong enough to make sure that what it's triggering me, what's causing me this kind of distress, what's causing me the imposter syndrome. These things, it's on daily basis. And this is where I love the fact that if you structure a routine or basically a system in your life where you can follow it from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, I would say things will be amazing, but it will be easier. And yeah, it's a challenge. But looking to basically from outside, this is the perception that I would love to share with everyone, that when someone looks from outside about, especially with the social media, wow, they are living an amazing life. Wow, she's famous. In reality, no, we are humans.
Yeah.
And we are facing burnouts, we are facing a lot of stress, and we are having our ups and downs. I'm not in the mood, I'm in a good mood. It changed. So, but it's really cool that at least you set a mindset that keeps you going, because you feel some sort of responsibility for your followers that, okay, she's delivering on this. But yeah, it's tough. Your husband is eating your food?
Yeah. Not my desserts though.
Why? Why?
He has a lot of self control.
Control?
A lot. So he really
Okay.
enjoys my food, especially different kinds of seafood dishes that I do for him. But desserts, no. He's quite strong in that sense. Like sometimes he'll taste something, like my tiramisu, but otherwise, no, he's quite
Amazing.
tough
Yeah.
when it comes to
I'll
this.
check on him, by the way, one day. What's next for Layal? What are your plans in that basically content creation space?
So yeah, again, content creation will, I think, always be a part of me. I'll always want to do it. I also found passion in teaching. So I did a teaching course with Tavola, where I had 8 students come in, and they took a class with me, and I was able to help them and support them. I love giving advice, so I thought of consultancy at one point, about up and coming content creators who need a bit of help in setting up, etc. So kind of, diversifying what I'm doing, but within the same, just pillar.
Yeah, it's. I think you definitely add value, especially how things are moving now with the new technologies and the platforms.
Yes, it's a lot.
And keeping up basically how things are progressing.
Yeah.
On the baking side. What's your favorite category? Is it the food or the sweets?
Sweets.
Sweets.
Yes, by far.
Okay, but of course you have healthy category, right? It's like kind of like
Yeah.
power, like yeah. I need to test them.
Yes, I think my first mistake was not getting something today.
That's okay.
But no, definitely you have to
It's
try.
a challenge for me because I have mother-in-law.
Yes.
She's really good,
Yeah.
and usually she the way she cooks or she prepares even the sweets, and I would say not based on my requirement, because I'm sugar-free, so I make sure that certain ingredients, but they are amazing. So one day I will put the challenge between both of you.
Exactly.
I love these challenges, but I will benefit.
Of course. And by the way, I have to say that I'm always very honest when I'm, making something, etc. So I do focus on, let's say less sugar in my desserts and the kids' desserts, because I can see, the value it brings of,
True.
Eating healthier, especially that I went through a lot of like health issues, when it came to food and sugar and all of that. So I am trying to take on a healthier approach to that, and it's been really helping without being overly restrictive, either with me or the kids. But it's my colleagues who are suffering, because if I want to make cakes, etc., so they can all attest to this. I'm taking a lot of cakes to the office. So yeah, I mean, what's important is to always, keep a balance, and then you'll be fine.
Yeah. If I ask you what's your switch now to keep you going in that journey, what
Yeah.
would it be?
I'd say it's my mindset, just really wanting to be healthy, happy, taking care of my body. You look at a lot of people around you, and you see how they're suffering in different ways, and you think to yourself, this is not where I want to be. So for me, I think health is a very big driver, be it mental health or be it physical health. So I'm doing a lot of that to be able to say, my next 10, 20, 30 years, I'm going to have a good quality of life. So this has been really, the big switch for me. Happiness, and not at the, expense of anything else.
I love it. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Saf.
It's been amazing to have you, Layal. And of course, we need to catch up, not every 19 years.
Definitely.
It's really amazing.
I promise.
Where can people find you? Of course, yeah.
Yes, so they can find me on social media at Gemini Bakes on all platforms, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. I'm always happy to connect with people, and also on LinkedIn. I write a lot of articles, so I'd love to hear from people on LinkedIn as well. And
it's amazing. I'll put all the social media handles on the show notes for sure.
Thank you.
So again, thank you very much for being on the Superhuman Switch podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for tuning in and for watching. It's amazing. And special thanks for my son. He's helping me now in the podcast production. He's doing an amazing job. So please follow us on Apple, Spotify, and the YouTube channel, and safwanalturk.com. Share, comment, review. I would really appreciate. And get your switch on. Take care.